Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. We are carrying on in Gnomes in the Neighborhood by Denyse Klette, and I decided that I would do an impromptu live video this afternoon just because I haven't gotten to doing any of my colouring this month. Well, not this month, sorry, this weekend. It's been a bit of a busy weekend. So I'm looking forward to colouring with you, and we're just gonna get started at finishing this page, which has been a really fun page to colour. And as you can see, mine has dried by now. So if I just zoom you out a little, you can see. So there, that's what it's looked like. Over here, my paper's crinkled a bit due to the water, which is just a bit of a pity. And I don't have a very clean sky there as far as paint strokes go. I was toying with the idea of touching it up, but I might actually just leave it because I don't want to damage the paper further, and I don't really like these crinkles. I'm worried if I keep wetting it, it's going to eventually tear a hole. So I'm just going to leave that, and I'm going to work on the mermaid, the gnome, the fish, the earthworm here. And I'm going to use castle art pencils, just the originals. So this is my set. It's a set of 72. They're not the gold. They're the ones that came out before the gold. And yeah, so I'll be sharpening my pencils as needed and working alongside that. Alright, so we've done a watercolor wash on the mermaid's hair. But I just felt that we need to bring in some more colors and deepen it up. And I was finding that the watercolor pencils in this sort of illustration, I don't actually have the skill set right now to color this very well with watercolor pencils. And I wasn't liking the vibrancy of the castle art watercolors. So I definitely need to work more with them, but I want to come in and build up the skin here and work on the hair, finish them off. So without any further delay, I'm going to grab hold of my Burnt Sienna, which is number 114. I'm going to zoom you in more so you get a really good feel for what I'm doing. Alright, so I want to bring in a bit more over here. Now she is coming straight into the sunlight, so I don't think she's going to actually have an awful lot of shadows on her face. I am joined today by my youngest son. He's with me in the room building his Lego, so it's really nice to have him with me. We've just had a full-on day of rugby, and it's 2 o'clock, so now we can chill and relax and get ready for the week. So if you do hear any background noise, it's just my son having a play with his Lego or the rest of the family tinkering about. So I'm really working on light layers here. I don't want too much. I don't want to build it up too quickly with the wrong colors. I want to keep these colors balanced. And then I want to bring in a little bit of the Primrose Yellow 002. And then we're going to go back in with our flesh 019. I need a little bit of the Burnt Umber 068, and I just need to sharpen this up a bit. Okay, so now I want a little bit of pink, so I'm going to get some rose pink. And the pink, all it does is it just adds a bit of vibrancy to the skin tone, and then we're going to knock it back with a bit of white pencil to just burnish it. So because her face is tilted into the sunlight section of the water, I want to show that she's got a bit of light hitting her face. I do find the smaller portraits to be a bit more tricky to color the skin tone because you don't have as much room. Alright, so now I'm going to use the Burnt Umber in her hair. And I'm going to use a flicking motion, and I just want to use this to add shadows into her hair. So I hope you've had a good weekend. I must say a huge thank you to those of you who enjoyed and commented on my Get to Know Me video. It's been really fun to hear how much you've enjoyed my giraffe story. If you haven't yet watched my Get to Know Me video, I will tag it for you and you can go ahead and go watch that. It was just something fun I thought to do, and yeah, love sharing some of my stories. The giraffe one was one of my favorites. Oh. I had Be Cozy ask me in the comments how come I didn't see a huge giraffe coming towards me, and I said to her, no, it was because I was lost in my own world, which is a common thing. I'm regularly lost in my own world, and I didn't even hear anyone calling me until eventually my husband and my in-laws were shouting my name, and then I snapped out of my own world and saw this giraffe lumbering near me. And it is also worth mentioning, the giraffe was coming from around a corner, so the last thing I expected was a giraffe. So it wasn't like I was on a straight road or anything like that. The road did have a bend to it, but yeah, the main reason was I was lost in my own thoughts, in my own world. But yeah, good times. So I do want to keep her hair having an orange look to it. So I will layer over this some reds, maybe some Indian red, and then we'll add a light touch of orange. Are you coloring it? No. I have a little coloring partner next to me. What are you coloring? You're coloring your dragon. Looks nice. So I just rotate my pencil from time to time just to help me keep my sharp point. So we're on a 3-week school holiday now, which is really, really great. And so between just playing games and doing some fun things, hopefully we can do a bit more coloring. Okay, so now I want to bring in some Indian red, 025, and I'm just going to go over all this brown and out a little bit. And then for the flowers and the leaves, I'm going to use gel pen. It's really small in here, so using a gel pen will really help to get into all these places. No, not yet, darling. Thank you, though. I want to finish her hair first. So if you are celebrating Mother's Day today, I wish you a happy Mother's Day. If you are not celebrating Mother's Day, I'm wishing you a good week for this coming week. I am still busy editing the Sugar Plum Fairy. I've done a couple of the videos and released them onto the channel, and I haven't forgotten them. I'm still busy editing them. So I'm hoping this week to put up the rest of the series and hopefully get around to filming some of the other videos that I haven't finished. So I'm seeing with this hair, it's going to need quite a few layers. I might even bring in some black pencil just to deepen these shadows. Okay, so let's bring in an orange. I'm going to go quite a bright orange, so let's try an orange lake. No, darling, I didn't want you to close that. I need that. Little mister goes and closes my gel pens. Oh, it's so funny. He's really a character, that child. And he knows his mind, my goodness. No, darling, I don't want the markers, thank you. So what I'm probably going to do is use a yellow to kind of lighten this up a little bit, but I'm also going to use a black black pencil and use that to help me deepen up some of these shadows. So I need the Indian red here because I didn't come in here. And no. Where? Later, darling, later. He wants to use my pearl colors on his picture. Alright, so this is black. And I'm going to come in here. And I've gone over some of the leaves, so when I'm finished I will go in and add the leaves with the gel pen. So with the black pencil, even if you're using brown hair or any darker hair, black pencil really helps with those shadow areas. So you don't need to use it over all of your hair, just the places where it's quite deep, and it will just help make everything stand out. I've just realized I don't have my light on. There we go. That's a bit better. Adds a bit of brightness to it. Lucan? No. So if I use my Primrose Yellow and just blend this out a little bit. So the paper is coming quite saturated now. You could still layer up more if you wanted to. Some black up here. You can go over that with the Indian Red 025. I wouldn't really worry about realistic hair on pictures like this. You just want to show highlights and shadows. I think for the gnome though, we can give him brown hair. I think he would look quite cool with brown hair. Okay, so we're going to move on to the gel pens. Alright, so I'm using a pink here. Pink. And then just try dabbing it. So I want some of it to be white. It's almost like she's got pinky white. You could probably do yellow on this actually. Could work. But because she's got the pink on her bikini top, I thought giving her these sort of pink flowers would help connect that. And then we can do like a neon green for the leaves. If you take a white gel pen, I must say I've really enjoyed this picture. And then we could use green gel pen on here. And on the worm, we could make him a neon peachy color. And we could do a bit of pink decoration up here. And then we can give her green eyes. I would go so far as to even give her pink lips, but I would use a darker pen, so like a more muted. There you go. Because that some of the details are so small, to do it with pencil would be quite finicky. Alright, so let's move on to some of these fish. Now I've gone over them with some of the Neocolor too, so I'm going to have to work on colors that would work well with blue. So we could do some fish like a dark pinky red, maybe some orange fish. Okay, so let's take Flesh 019. And then Orange Lake 019. We could try and make some of these fish yellow actually. Let's bring in some Terracotta, which is a deeper orange. And then we can come back in with the flesh. and blend that out. Bring in some terracotta up here onto these eyelids, and then again on some of the wing, oh sorry, not the wing, the fin. And then white pencil. Okay, so that's one orange fish going for us. And we could do, we have got pink, so we could do some pinkish fish and maybe some yellow fish, because we did put yellow up into the water. So if we do a yellow fish, what we're going to do is take Primrose Yellow, some Brilliant Yellow, honestly, when it comes to fish, I never really know which side of the fish to make light or dark, because I know in real life fish have a dark midline. So I always forget whether to make it that the bottom is dark and the light is top. So we're just gonna just color it, not worry too much about it. And then we can bring in a yellow ochre light. Now I'm finding that the castle arts aren't really laying down too much here, and it's either because of the pressure I'm using, or the truth of the paper might be grabbing more castle art than I'd like. Okay, so there's a bit of a yellow fish there. Could possibly use a little bit of burnt sienna just to deepen those shadowed laces. But then I'd go over it with the brilliant yellow so that it doesn't go brown, it stays yellow. I will be putting these colors combinations in my swatch, and when I do a color combo video I can give you all these color combos as well, and then if you like them then you can use them. Alright, so if we do a pink fish, let's see, maybe this one here. So I'm using rose pink, And then we can use a J per pink, which is 031. And the pink over the blue neo color will turn it purple. So that will help me try and blend out my messy watercolor. And then the Indian red light. And then we can go over that with the rose pink, which is 034. And then we can blend this out with a bit of white, which is 072. Right, so that would be our 3 types of fish here. So if I was to, I'll do this section of fish with you, and then I'll do the other fish off camera because it's going to be the same thing. So I'm using my rose pink, and I'm just going to go over each fish and see where I'm going to put a pink fish. And I'm just going to color them in a bit randomly. And then I will most likely use my white gel pen for highlights. And I've got some other paint pens with me as well. And I mean, if you want to, you could even color all these fish the same color, because they are the same style of fish. Alright, so then I come in with my J per pink again. Apologies for the background noise. I forget how much fun castle arts actually are. I mean, as far as budget pencils go, they work pretty well. I met a lady just recently who loves to color when she can, and I was telling her how I've noticed with coloring, the paper and the pencils really do make a difference. And you know, you don't normally think about that. See, I've left off all the fins. Oh my goodness. So like with castle arts in Hannah Carlson books, they're pretty good. Layla Dooley's Flower Year coloring book, they work relatively okay in that. They work okay on this paper, but I found with the Denyse Klette books, budget-friendly pages and the pencils, they tend to really chew up the pencil. So I don't know yet if it's the paper or if it's the type of pencil. This is the Indian Red Light 027. But I did think it was interesting. I've tried castle arts in this book. Mythographic uses up the Marco Raffine pencils quite quickly. Now it makes for quick coloring, but I haven't worked out if it's because the paper just chewing up the pencil quite quickly, or if I'm using hard pressure. So I haven't worked out that one, and I'm having a similar experience with the castle arts on this paper. They lay down relatively okay, but they won't give me many layers, and I'm not sure if it's the paper or the pencil, so I'll have to keep playing with it to get used to coloring with these pencils in this book. I am going to be going live on Monday, tomorrow at 8 p.m. London time. The reason I decided to do an impromptu live stream today is just because I wanted to color, and I thought it would be fun to finish another page together. I also have been keen on to do weekend live streams just to see how it works on the channel, if it's something that will work, or if it's something that I need to not really worry about, and also trying to target people who at different times and just say hello, because we don't always get to color together based on different time zones and that sort of thing, or different work commitments. So it's just trying to increase opportunity. But it's going to take probably a few attempts to find what time of the weekend works well for you guys and for me and that sort of thing. So I'll see what I can do when I can. The beginning of the year is always quite full on with the kids, because they've got different commitments and things happening. But then by summertime it sort of settles down a little bit. So if you would like to see more weekend live streams, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. It really does help a lot to know what the kind of content I can provide, what interests you, and just improve your experience of the channel. Right, so that was rose pink. Now I'm coming back with the Indian red light onto this little guy down here. And then I'm coming back with my Jaipur pink. I think that's how you pronounce it. Alright, so then some white pencil. I use white in this case normally just to help with blending, lightening up highlighted areas. Okay, so those are my pink fish. So I'll go and do some yellow fish now. So this is the Primrose Yellow 002. I noticed in the Ruby Charms Big Book of Colors or Big Book of Color Swatches, color charts. The Castle Art swatch section doesn't have the names of the Castle Art pencils. but Castle Art does provide the names on the actual pencils themselves. So I thought that was an interesting observation, because I've noticed some people really do like having the names of the pencils more than the numbers. Okay, so then I bring in Brilliant Yellow 009. I don't mind if the blue neocolor changes to a green undertone, because I think it works on this color scheme. We've got some of the green on the mermaid and the green on the ocean surface. Seriously, it's so easy to forget these fins. It's hilarious how many times I keep forgetting them. Alright, so then I'm just going to go straight to Burnt Sienna 114. And then I'm going to go over that with the more yellow ochre color. But I'm trying a light pressure here because I don't want to be too heavy-handed with the Burnt Sienna. I don't want it to go brown. I want it to stay yellowish. I'm trying to do a few of the same fish. And then I pick up the yellow ochre light and I'll try blend that out. Do you find you can color fish easily? Do the color combinations for fish come well quickly to you, or do you also struggle with fish? Okay, then the Brilliant Yellow again. So I wanted this fish yellow as well. The Burnt Sienna 114. The yellow ochre light. and the brilliant yellow. Okay, so now we go back to our orange fish, which is flesh, as our base color. Might have to use gel pen on the fins. Oh my goodness. I did go and buy myself better paintbrushes. So I ended up getting this set of paintbrushes here, where they have, if I open it, they're round, so, and they come in various shapes. And, well, not shapes, more sizes. And I think that this is going to do a bit better for color, hopefully for painting, so I don't go over so much of the illustrations. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in my orange lake as soon as I finish this guy. Okay, so orange lake, which is number 16. And then I'm also going to need a black fine liner just to go over the black line art I've painted over. Like the curl of the tails and that sort of thing, and just draw back some of this illustration. I just found with the very flat brushes, the square flat brushes, it's great for big areas, but when, yeah, I just felt like it wasn't giving me the effects I wanted. So I thought if I try a more round brush, maybe I could get into some of those finer places a little bit easier. So Terracotta 13. I'm just going to pretend that all my watermarks are markings on the fish and that they're supposed to be there. And we're going to just sell it as a feature. Alright, Castle Arts 19, which is flesh. And I'm going to see if I've got a paint pen similar in color, and see if I can just bring a bit of highlight to some of the fins. I mean, that's the gist of it, really. Okay, so let's have a look. So if we take a sharp pencil, just see if we can scratch this off. This is what I do like about pencils, is if you have them sharp enough, you can move the paint around before it dries. And that should help as well. And I just use my lightest color to just try and blend it. So these are just cheap acrylic paint pens. There's nothing really spectacular about them. They just probably dot it like that. Just trying to bring out these bottom fins. I like it when you have paint pens that you can scratch and move the paint into the position you want it to go. I think it really is helpful. The Signo pens work quite like this, and I do like that about them. Hello Bubble Studio, it's great to have you. Good morning. So if I use more of an orange, let's see. And then just use your lightest pencil see, like at the bottom down here, I totally left off these fins. You could even use a wide pencil if you wanted. Right, so yeah, that's just some of what you can do. Not all of them necessarily need gel pen. You might find that just using your favorite gel pen works better. So yeah, do what works best for you. And then I've got my fine liner, which is a uni pin fine line. And I'm just going to use that to go over the details. I remember when I first bought this pen, it really wouldn't start. And I had to really work on it to actually get it to start working. But now that it works, it's really good. It just helps to get the fish to stand out. Even though we, as colorists, we often want to get rid of black lines or have faded black lines, in a way we still need those lines. And you'll see as I add them on, the character of the fish sort of come back out. And I find with Prismacolors, you need to kind of do the same thing. The Prismacolors go over the black lines quite a lot and create a waxy film. but every now and then you do need to put those black lines back in just to crisp up the image. So sometimes with these pens, they pick up a little bit of the pigment on the paper. So you just need to watch for that and then just scratch off any that's blocking and stopping your pigment from coming through again. And you can add in back in any of the definition that you want. So I woke up early this morning. I went and did my little workout, and I thought, oh, it's fantastic. The sun is shining. It's feeling so warm. I thought, I'm going to be adventurous. I'm going to put on a 3/4 sleeve shirt. And I thought, oh, well, it must be so nice and warm. Maybe I'm not going to take my coat and go watch my son play rugby. And then I got outside and I thought, okay, it's a little bit cooler than I expected. So I took my coat with me, but a lighter coat than what I normally wear. And while I was watching him play his match, there was such an icy cold wind. I was so grateful I had my jacket with me. And it was just such a welcome, well, not a very welcoming reminder that even though it's the middle of March, it's still not warm enough. So we've still got a good month, I think, before we can actually hang up the coats and jackets for good and say, yay, welcome spring, welcome summer. Oh my goodness. And apparently there's more cold snaps coming, so just have to be patient. Thanks, Galaxy Dodge. I appreciate that. I do like these fish. They've got these cute little puckered up lips. So I do want to keep that definition going. and also just redefine these fins which I lost. Right, so there we go. It's just this one here. It's a little bit lost. You don't always need to go over the entire fish, just wherever it's a little bit dull due to colouring. You just want to go over those. But if you were a bit more neater with your water background, there'll probably be less for you to colour over. Whereas I was really messy. Never mind. Live and learn. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to the gnome. Because I'm going to do the same principle for the rest of the fish on the other side of the page. So let's work on this guy. And then we will have yet another completed page. But before I do that, I've got this little worm here. So he needs and this whole thing here, I need to redo the ink. I do like this worm, it's really cute. I like Denyse Klette's style. It's very whimsical and cute and fun. I think it's just getting used to colouring it. And I have a feeling if I approach it with a more, almost like I don't have to be so pedantic about the details, or perfect blending, that is. I think I could probably do a lot more in this page, in this book, than what I realize. So here we've got the gnome skin. So what we're going to do is bring in some of that burnt umber. I dig his shades. Now I was thinking of giving him brown hair. You can give him a bit more of a pinky tone if you like, because you could illustrate that he's getting a sunburn. We don't necessarily have to make him very pink. We can make him a bit more red, or you could make him a bit more brown, almost like the Mediterranean type skin tone. So it looks like he's been tanning for a while. Now he's quite in the direction of the sun, so you probably don't need too much shadow, but you do need some for definition. Let's see, let's add a bit of that Indian red. Okay, and then some yellow ochre light. I do prefer Prismacolor for skin tone. I find their range has a lot more natural skin tone options to layer up, whereas the Castle Arts, I find I have to be a bit more experimental with it. Alright, now I want flesh. Fortunately, if you go too dark, you can use white to blend it out. And also just knock the color back a bit. And sometimes the skin looks darker than it actually is when you haven't added the hair and all the other bits. So if the skin doesn't feel right, you can always stop coloring and then go and do the hair, the accessories, and see how that works. And then if you're still not happy with it, you could come back at a later stage and just try and adjust it with a few more layers, play with your colors. I find skin tone really does need to be a play of layers and the different sort of combinations of skin. Sometimes you need a bit of yellow, sometimes you need a bit more red. If there's too much red, then you knock it back with I'm not sure, I can't remember which one you knock back for red. With yellow you can use purple, like a greyed lavender, but a very light purple. You don't want to use a dark purple. And then white does help to soften the colors as well. Grey can also work, but you don't want too much grey, otherwise your character will look too ashy, unless that's the look you're going for. Right, so we were going to give him, I think his skin is okay. I mean, it's quite dark compared to hers, and I don't mind it having a bit more of a reddish tinge, because I think that will work as far as showing that he is having a tan. So this bit here is not part of his beard, it's part of his skin. So if we just add, that was flesh, and then build up with your yellow ochre here, and then you could bring in your white, a bit of that Indian red underneath the beard. And then the burnt umber, which will just show that his beard is sitting on his chest. I think we could give him a yellow hat. So I'm going to use the same pencils I've got out here. And we're just gonna put it on. So this is the Brilliant Yellow, which is number 9. We could make that piece a different piece. I love that he wears a hat. Yet most of his body is exposed to the sunlight. It's hilarious. And then we take the yellow ochre light. And then we want some Burnt Sienna 114. And then back over that with the Brilliant Yellow. Yellow ochre, which is number 10, because it's the yellow ochre light. The Burnt Sienna 114. The Brilliant Yellow number 9. And then the Primrose Yellow number 2 for highlights, and also just blending it out in general. Right, I'm just trying to work out what sort of, we could give him yellow trousers as well, or yellow swimming trunks. So Brilliant Yellow, and then I'll do maybe maybe some blue leaves. I don't want to bring in any more color, because if I bring in too much color, it's going to be too much. Yellow ochre. I love all the little rolls. It's got like a little potch belly. It's so cute. I like gnomes. They're a lot of fun. All right, Burnt Sienna 114. I mean, if you don't want the decoration on his pants, you could just leave it, just color over it. Yellow ochre light. I mean, there's no rule saying that you need to keep the decoration. I'm probably going to leave it because I don't think it's needed. and then the Primrose Yellow 002. Alright, so let's give him some brown hair. We'll give him a base with the yellow ochre light. Alright, so now we need some sepia. And you want to keep just going in the direction of the hair. And then Burnt Umber. And we're going to bring in some black as well, just to deepen up those shadows. And even if you wanted to turn this into black hair, you still would layer blues and dark browns, because that will help the blackness of the hair to not look too, what do you call it, two-dimensional, but to have a bit more depth and character to it. Right, let's go over that with the Burnt Umber. I mean, you could use greys and blacks to give him black hair. The grey would be your highlight color, and then you would just layer up some browns and blacks to give it shape. If I use the Terracotta, you can also use Terracotta instead of the yellow ochre light. So I want more burnt umber. And then black. So just want to build it up, and then we're almost done with this beautiful page. So I'm going to make the bow in the hat green. We could make it quite a bright green. So let's take leaf green, which is 061. And then we can take Castle Green Deep. Back over that with the Castle Green Light 061. Hi Bee! It's great to have you. It is a fun book. I do agree. I think it's even more fun when you figure out how to color it. And then here I want a bit of Prussian blue. And the blue is just going to go into my shadows, and then I'll go over it with the Castle Green Deep 57. And then to make it a bit more vibrant, Primrose Yellow over the highlights. And then we can take the black pen inside these like folds. Or you could use a white pen, it's really up to you. But I also want to go around the line art now, and just this line art got covered in paint, so I want to redefine it. And then we can use the same castle, well, this is leaf green light 061 up here. It will be a slightly different green, so it should work for this. Castle green deep 57. And then the Delft blue 42. Go over that with Castle green deep 57. And the leaf green light 61. And then if we shade his shades with like a, I don't know, leaf green light. And then I'm going to use my pearl colors, which are by Gnome Tambi. Oh, there they are. So these ones, Gnome Tambi pearl colors, and I'm going to use these sets here. And I'm thinking of doing possibly the Pearl May green, but you could probably use any of them, and just to give the sunglasses a bit of a kind of like look to them. So just pop some water in there and then give it a few minutes to activate. But yeah, I think he looks great. If I bring that in here, you can see how it's, you really don't need a lot of water with these. That's not going to work. The paintbrush is too big. I need a smaller paintbrush. I might mix in a bit of blue over it. Not really liking that green. Okay, so for the water now, I'm going to take my white gel pen and white out these lines. So I'm actually going to use white acrylic paint. And a small paintbrush. So I'm just going to keep a tissue paper close by. Just paint over these black lines because I want the water to be more watery than lined. So how do you find your control of a paintbrush? Do you find it easy to kind of control your paintbrush when you paint in fine details, or do you struggle? I find I really do struggle with this sort of thing. I think I just need to practice it a bit more. I'm just going to zoom you out a bit. There we go. I don't mind the horizon line. And then with acrylic paint, using a bit of water does help spread the paint. All right, then the next thing I would do is take a paintbrush again with white acrylic paints, and I would use a bit of water just to dilute the acrylic paints. And then for the bubbles, I would try and do a bit of a splatter. You could also just paint a few random dots. I mean, you could add them, you could leave them, it's up to you. You could do them a bit more refined. I take the glitter gel pen, the green one, around these sunglasses. Right, then the next thing you can do is either use Pro Colors, or you could use a Spectrum Noir Sparkle Pen and do the top of the water, so it's got a little bit more of a shimmer to it. So I'm going to use the Spectrum Noir Sparkle. Underwater isn't going to have a lot of sparkle, so you won't really need to worry about that. But her tail, you could put sparkle on her tail. the other thing I would probably do is take my fine liner and just go over some of these tendrils on her top. And then come along her tail here and just add back in the sketch. So I'll do that when all the glitter I've put on has dried, because it's not going to stick. But I'll go along her tail and just re-add the fine illustration there. Alright, so I'm going to do the rest of the fish the way I showed you. I'm going to splatter both the side of the page with white acrylic paint for the bubbles, and then this page is going to be complete. So I've done just about everything I can show you on this page. It's how I would carry on completing it. I think overall it's turned out relatively sweet. It's got a few places where it could do with a bit of improvement for next time. So I need to carry on working with the blending of my watercolor paints, and I think just work on a bit more finesse when it comes to painting around the fish, for instance. But yeah, this was really a lot of fun. I think using watercolor, Neocolor 2s, gel pens, it really does help with this sort of details and coloring this page quite quickly. I don't think this sort of paper really needs to be colored in with Prismacolors or polychromos unless you really want to use those. I think the paper works well with budget set pencils, so you could really have a lot of fun, and this sort of book could be more of a relaxed coloring, and then your other favorite artists, maybe your bigger portraits or your flowers and plants, Christine Karen, for instance, Hannah Carlson, those sort of pages, you could then use your Prismacolors, your polychromos. If you've got the luminance, you could use your higher quality set of pencils to do those pages. This paper also works well for markers and blending markers, so it just gives you some different options just to play around and experiment. I'm also going to touch this side up with hi Cindy, you are working on the crane page. For a moment there I had to think which page that was. Hang on, let me have a look here quickly. I've got it right here with me. So let's see, because I was using a variety of pencils. Alright, I'm going to close this page up now and just help Cindy with the crane page. So let's move this out the way. Okay, so the crane page. There we go. That's what I've done. I'm slowly getting there. Okay, so I'm using a mixture of pencils on this page. Is this the right page, Cindy? I'm assuming this is the right page. If it is the right page, I've used a combination of pencils for all the leaves. For these leaves, I've used Castle Arts. I've used Black Widows for these leaves. I'm using, this is the color combination I'm using for these sort of leaves. I think I'm going into there. Yes. So same colors for these leaves up the top, these leaves here, Prismacolors for these leaves, and Black Widows for these leaves, because I was testing out all the different pencils. I have also got Arteza, so I've forgotten where I use the Arteza pencils. I have a feeling the Arteza pencils are supposed to be for here. So it really is a mix match. I am finding the Castle Arts work relatively okay on this paper. The Prismacolors are an absolute dream. So let me know if that helps you. So for these flower leaves here, I'm using Arteza Moss and Matcha. For the leaves up here, I'm using Castle Arts Viridian 052, Cadmium Green 062, Lemon Yellow Light 001. For deepening up the Arteza pencils, or even any of these other leaves, you can use Indigo A007. If it's these ones, I would use this sort of a thing, because actually, to be fair, I did not show you how to do these in the video. Let me check my color charts. I hope I've put it down. Here we go. Circle of Life. There's all the color swatches. So these leaves here or here were Castle Arts 001, 062, 052. With these leaves. Then these ones were Arteza A006, A029, and A007. And then these were the Black Widows, Cobra and Forest. And these ones were the Prismacolors, PC120, PC109, and PC938. So I am so glad I actually wrote this down. I've got it all here, which helps. So glad we could sort that out for you. Thanks for asking. And I will pop on again a live tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. London time. And I'm quite keen to go into Magical Dawn. I want to do a watercolor background and have a play in there. So I thought Magical Dawn would be a good video. I'll show you the picture I'm thinking of coloring. And it is the one where I did the foil. So I thought we could color this page together. So I want to do a watercolor background, and then I want to work on the bottles, and we'll see how it goes. We might add a bit more foil to it, but I thought it would be a lot of fun to play with this, and I might do stick-on stars, just because sometimes I'm too lazy to color in stars. So this I want to tackle on Monday. It's a pleasure, Cindy. I'm glad I could help out. So that's our plans. That's what we've colored. That's what we've done. Thank you everyone for joining me. I'll just give you something to look at. And I will see you Monday, 8 p.m. London time for a play in Magical Dawn. Thank you for picking Gnomes in the Neighborhood. I really enjoyed coloring in that book, and I actually think I'm going to do a lot more in that book and find some simpler pages to color, and then I think sticking to Castle Arts or teasers are going to be a great way going forward. Thank you everyone, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye for now.